Greetings everyone, this is Zared18 and welcome to another Minecraft video. Today we're not doing Survivor Realms. Today we're actually going to be looking at something a little bit different. As you can tell from the Oars behind me, we are going to be looking at the 1.17 Minecraft release. Now this is quite a release in many areas, so let me kind of first explain the premise of 1.17. So, for those who don't know, 1.17 is the Caves and Cliffs update, which is something that has been basically a requested concept by so many people for so long. But what ends up happening is that there was actually a twist with this one. So, unlike previous versions where, you have one big update, this one's actually separated into two smaller updates. And the first one has got to do with some of the content. And then the next update, which is 1.18 or 1.17 point whatever, I don't know. Oh, also, as you can see, there's quite the fire spread. Lava. Okay. And I actually got onto this mountain to kind of go through this update a little bit. Now, this is a release, so this is currently not in snapshot phase anymore. 1.18, or whatever the next update is going to be the second half of this, which is mostly going to be land generation, basically just going to be land generation mostly, and implementing a few other things. So let's kind of go through this. So the first thing with this Caves and Cliffs update that's worth mentioning is that some things have been retextured. So this is coal ore, and as you can see, it looks very different. This kind of makes it so that it's more sort of more period correct. So it looks like it has been retextured along with to make it look more modern. Now, previously, coal was basically, the same as it has been, and the only real difference was that there was, slight retextures to make it match with everything else. But this is a very different ore now, and I kind of like it. I mean, I don't mind having a different ore look, so as long as you can actually tell what it is. So this is obviously coal, and because I'm in a mountain biome, there's actually quite a few coal veins up here. Then this one, actually down here, is copper. Now, copper is one of the new ores that was added in for 1.17. And as of right now, it does not have a lot of use. So if we look at copper, you can see that there's a lot of things. So first of all, there's different kinds of copper. So we've got copper ore, and then we have this deep slate copper ore. We're going to get into deep slate a little bit later. And then we have raw copper, which again, we'll get into that a little bit later as well. Now, these are all the different variations of this block. So, copper has a unique property in the sense that it actually has different variants after a certain amount of time. So this is a block of copper, okay? So, pretty standard. Okay, probably not standard. As you can see, it just changed right there. So, what happens is that over time, this block of copper, will turn into exposed copper. As you can see, it has a little bit of green on it. And then it will turn into weathered copper, which then this has a lot of green, but not a lot of orange. It's still a little bit. And then oxidized copper, which is basically just this bluish-green block. Also has a unique placing sound. Very metallic. It's not like just normal, iron blocks. It's actually like a metal block. So that's one purpose. And copper is, as far as I'm aware, the only metal block that has this many variations. So you've got copper blocks, then you have cut copper, then you have cut copper stairs, then you have cut copper slab, then a waxed block, and then the waxed variants. Now, the waxed is important because waxed means that it will not change. So that means while it looks the same as this normal block of copper, this will never turn into this. So, how do you wax copper blocks? Well, let's get some honeycomb. I'm pretty sure this is the way to do it. There we go. And there's an achievement that says wax on, which is basically to apply honeycomb to a copper block. This will now never change its form. So over time it will turn into this, and then it will turn into this eventually. But when you wax it with honeycomb, it will not change. Now you can unwax it, I'm pretty sure, with an iron axe. Yeah. So iron axe will then be able to strip that wax. So I believe it works with any axe. I'm not sure. Let's check. Let me try with a diamond axe. Okay, so it works with any axe. It doesn't have to be iron specifically. As of right now, copper does not have a lot of usages. I mean, it does look nice, and it can be used in a lot of building scenarios because of its specific color. But the actual, ingot itself, it's not really all that useful. So, one of the things it crafts into is this. This is the lightning rod. And it does basically what you can expect it to do. It takes lightning and it directs it to this block. This is helpful for certain builds if you have a very flammable build. This is very helpful in some cases, but not in every case. It also acts a lot like end rods, so you can place it on the side of blocks, and it will change according to that. It can also, so it can be placed upside down as well. So it looks a little bit like a lantern. Now, lightning rod, okay, pretty useful. Now there's another one, but we'll get to the next one later. So as of right now, copper does not have a lot of usage, other than for certain building scenarios. And then there's this one other item that we're going to check in a little bit. So my opinion in this thing, I can see how it's useful, but in other cases, I want there to be more. Make it more useful other than just, a few things. So we have that. The next thing on the list is, first of all, copper is not incredibly common, so do not expect to find a lot of it all that often. But that's pretty useful because I don't think a lot of people are going to actually use it. I mean, some people are, but hey, who am I to judge? Now, the next thing on the list is actually going to be the ores. This is mostly going to be referring to the different ore variants that currently stand. So let me get these ores. All these deep slate variants. There's a lot to go through. Okay, so this is deep slate coal, deep slate iron, copper, redstone, deep slate gold, emerald, lapis, and diamond. So, first of all textures have remained very well changed in one form or another. So let me get the deep slate variants. I'm going to kind of show you what the difference is, because there is a very stark difference compared to what you might be used to. Okay, not everything, but that's not the point. So let's put the coal up here. Iron, gold, redstone, copper, emerald, lapis, and diamond. Alright. So as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of a difference. Now, the deep slate variant of these ores was supposed to be in the land generation part of this update, but what happened is complications arose. So right now, these are not obtainable in survival mode. I'm not sure. Actually, let me check that. So, game mode, spectator. Again, it's been one of those things where I haven't done a lot of searching through this. I only know what I know. Oh, okay, so there is, in fact, deep slate. So deep slate occurs it's a block that occurs at the very bottom of the world. So basically, the bottom looks like 20 blocks, something like that. Bottom, well, like it's quite a few blocks down, but it's the bottom levels of the overworld. Now, Deep Slate does not have a lot of use either. It's an interesting looking block. So let me go back to creative mode. So as you can see, Deep Slate does not look anything like normal stone. So if we put the 3 right here, you can tell that this looks like Basalt. And I actually like that. Basalt has been one of those blocks where you like it when you can use it. This kind of ties that Basalt look to it. So I'm serious. So let's see if we can get a thing of Basalt. Good Basalt, smooth Basalt, and then polished Basalt. And also you can make Deep Slate blocks, or bricks, and so forth. As well as Deep Slate tiles, which is kind of interesting. So as you can see, this looks very similar to Basalt. Now, Basalt, for the longest time, I think one of the reasons why a lot of people haven't used it is because A, it's rare, and B, it doesn't have, like, the cleanest texture. But now that Deep Slate's in here, you can kind of tie that Basalt look to it. It also has a unique sound. It sounds like you're placing a brick. Alright, so that's Deep Slate. As of right now, it's basically the same with stone. You can use it for certain building materials. I don't know if you can interchange that with redstone. Actually, can I? Okay, never mind. Alright, so Deep Slate ores are current at the bottom of the world along with said Deep Slate. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of a change in terms of how the ores look. So coal you've seen already. Copper you've also seen already. Iron looks very different. It looks completely unique compared to these two, not just in color, but also how the ore's basic design actually looks. So as you can see, it changed from its original look. And again, I like this. It gives change. It gives variety instead of having, you know, a base block with different colors for different things. Redstone's also different, and it's, again, unique compared to these two. It looks very similar to an extent to coal, but it's not identical. So there's that little bit of difference. And again, as I said before, I'm going to say it with all of these, I like that there's a little bit of a change. Gold looks very different. So this one actually looks like it has like these diamond, like this one in particular has like a diamond shape to it, and these other ones look like nuggets. And I think this is one of those things where it gives gold like what it actually looks like. So gold comes in nuggets or small flakes, and this ore makes it look like it has like nuggets in it, which is pretty true. Emerald looks very different. Again, it has that same unique green color, and it still has a little bit of similarities with its original texture. Like it has some of those, like some of these squares, these colored squares, that was very similar with that of the original emerald. Now, the two that have remained unchanged are Lapis and Diamond. At least I can tell that Lapis has not really changed. But as you can see, Lapis still has a little bit of that original ore look. It actually shares a lot of its ties with Diamond, and Diamond has remained basically unchanged. The only thing that's really changed is the texturing a little bit, but it hasn't changed nearly as much as these. It's made it, give it more depth in terms of colors, and it gave it that stone update. So Diamond is going to remain basically the same, and Lapis has changed a little bit. Alright? And then the Deep Slate variants are below. So I like this change. Diamond, I think, should stay this way because it's iconic. It's you know, it's basically been like one of the cornerstones for Minecraft for such a long time. And I think this really just fits it. I mean, the texture change might throw some people off because it's not classic Diamond, but it's period correct. So that's a good thing. Alright, so that's mostly it with the underground stuff. There are a few other things, so let's actually find it, and that is amethyst. Now, amethyst is quite an interesting one. So, amethyst, amongst other ones, so the first one on the big list is amethyst. So, let's actually get some amethyst. Then there's other ones in a little bit. So, amethyst is really interesting. So, these only occur in amethyst geodes, which are a rare, I don't know what to call them. Is it like a structure? Or like a biome? I don't know, but it's like these small pockets in caves. And you find amethyst inside of them. So you've got three variants of amethyst. You have the block of amethyst, you have budding amethyst, and then you have amethyst clusters. And then, of course, the different growths of amethyst. So, the way that this works is that these geodes are pretty rare, but when you find them, they're going to come with these. Amethyst blocks, you can get, budding amethyst, you cannot get in survival mode without the usage of cheats. So let me get a pickaxe. Let me go into survival mode, just to show you. So, blocks of amethyst, you can break. Budding amethyst, you break, it drops nothing. So let's go back to creative mode. So those you cannot get. So block of amethyst you can get, budding amethyst you cannot get without the usage of cheats. Then there's amethyst clusters. Now these again spawn. Now these spawn on top of that budding amethyst, and I think it looks interesting. It's a different texture design. It looks a lot like a. It actually looks like a crystal. And it emits a little bit of light. Not a lot, but it's a very subtle amount. It's actually not super subtle, but you can tell that there's light, but it's not like a torch, where it's like, oh yeah, I can definitely see that from a mile away. I like this. And amethyst does have another purpose. So other than having this unique sound that it actually sounds like some sort of bell, if you walk on it, you can tell there is a slight sound increase. Actually, let me make that happen. Let's increase the sound of music sounds to this. You can tell that there's like that tingly sound. Now that is pretty unique. There are no blocks in this game right now that actually have this sound, and I think this really makes some builds so much better. Because you get this like tingly feel. So that's the first big one. It's one of the big ones. So let's put this divot pickaxe away. Let's get a new one. And then the next thing on the list are raw blocks. Now, let me actually look up raw. Okay, so it's only those three. Okay, so this update added 3 ores having their raw variants. So that's to say gold, copper, and iron, which used to drop their ore. So if you remember, they used to drop their ore. Copper you may not know, but it also acted like iron. It would drop an ore. So then you'd have to smelt it. In this case, you have to do that as well, but this makes it a little bit different. So you get this. So if you put 9 of these, actually, let me get a. That's not how you spell crafting table. And then let's get one of these. So that if I take one, yeah. So you get 9 raw iron. Now these drop from the ore itself, and this occurs with every single one of them. So you can do that, and that sound that you just heard, we'll get to that also a little bit. And then raw copper. So, basically, you get this, like, pebble look. Okay. This is going to be important in a minute. Or a little bit later. Anyways, so, hello. Goat. This was one of the big things that they added in. A goat, or the goat mob, was added into Minecraft. And I think it's... I don't know how I feel about it. I like the idea that now there's actually some sort of unique mob for the mountains. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them. Maybe you like it, maybe you dislike them. Personally, I could go either way. They are quite interesting creatures. Anyways, so now the ores drop their raw variant, which are kind of like these pebbles. You can either A, take them and turn them into these blocks, which give this like an interesting cobblestone look, sort of like an interesting multicolored cobblestone look, or you can smelt them and turn them into ingots. But the good thing is, never mind. So, and now fortune actually affects them. So now you can get more ingots out of this. So now all ores in the game, all ores, okay? Not all blocks, but all ores in the game are now affected by fortune. Which are kind of interesting, so I kind of like this idea. Building, this can make some very interesting build designs. The raw variant, I think this makes it so that it's more uniform, so you have certain blocks that have unique looks, but then you also have it so that everything has the ability to be affected by fortune. So this helps in so many situations. Alright. So, next up on the list are some other blocks that were added in, which are Calcite, Dripstone, and Tuff. Now, Calcite, Tuff, and Dripstone are also some new blocks that were added in. Now, there's a few things worth noting, so let me actually look up Calcite, okay, Tuff, and then Dripstone, okay. So, the first thing that's worth noting is that, if I remember correctly, let's actually go back to spectator mode, because I saw a Amethyst geode. So, Tuff, this is not Tuff. I don't believe. Is this Tuff? No, this is Basalt. Okay, so, I'm getting this mixed up. So, Basalt occurs on the outside of these geodes. Also, as you can see, this is what your Amethyst geode should look like, sort of. So, lots of blocks of Amethyst, which, again, if you use them, they do not turn into anything. Okay. So, I'm assuming this is kind of like quartz, then. So, if we go back to survival mode and mine one of these, you get, well, for this case, you get 4 Amethyst shards. Amethyst shards can then be turned into a block of Amethyst, but then cannot be turned back. So it's kind of like quartz, then. Quartz you can't turn into... You can turn it into a block, but you can't turn it back. I really hope they change that. Because easy mass quartz storage is not easy, then. And then we have Calcite. Now, Tuff was supposed to be outside, the outside block. And this looks a lot like andesite. Like a really rough and more colored version of andesite. I don't know, but prove me wrong. This thing looks a lot like not amethyst, andesite. So this was supposed to be on the outside, but it ended up being replaced with basalt, and I'm pretty certain, if we go back to spectator mode, I don't think Tuff now spawns. If it does, it's not in very large quantities. No, okay, so it does. So Tuff does spawn as, again, kind of like Deep Slate. So it kind of spawns pretty far down, because I'm not seeing any other ones anywhere else other than low down. So I'm assuming then that's only a low down block. So there's that. Where is our area? Okay, so here's our area, which means we have to go back down this way. Okay. Anyways, so with that in mind, tough is a pretty interesting block. So again, it looks a lot like andesite, and I'm pretty sure that it's one of those blocks where if you could interchange it with other ones, it would look fine. So I seem to have lost our Amethyst Geode. I see one on screen, but it's all the way over there. Anyways, so with that in mind, oh, there it is. So it used to be where this would have tough on the outside, but now it's basalt, and on the inside you get calcite. I like calcite. Calcite's one of those blocks where it's hard to get like this kind of white. I mean, the only other like really white blocks are hold on, let's see where if I can find them. Smooth quartz, technically snow, and then there's like one other one, which is white concrete. Where is white concrete anyways? There it is. So if I put these here, these all have like a very interesting white. This is actually not white, but hey, who am I to judge? So as you can see, these are all white. I think the calcite really fits with a lot of builds because you want this like white look, but you also want this like gem look, or like a rougher design. And I think this really fits it. Alright, so the next one is dripstone. And we actually, while we were passing by, there was a little bit of dripstone. Not this one in particular, but, you know, I have to find it. Alright, anyway. Alright, that's not the point. Dripstone is a new block. I think this was very exciting for a few people because it added in, like, stalactites and stalagmites. Stalagmites are the ones that have these stone spikes pointing up, or spikes, I guess, and these have ones pointing down. Those are stalactites. So, dripstone in of itself does not have a lot of purpose, except for one big thing, and it has to do with this pointed dripstone. Also, pointed dripstone, if you land on it, here, let me show you real quick. So if I land on it in survival mode, you can see I take a lot more damage than I would have if I just simply landed on the ground. That's because landing on these deals more damage, and having these fall also deals a lot of damage. It also drops pointed dripstone, which you can then place again. And also, you could stack these, so it could go like that, and then like that, and then after 3 blocks, it just keeps increasing in size. Alright, so the dripstone block and pointed dripstone do not have a lot of purpose without the usage of another block, of another thing. Liquids. So one of the big things with dripstone is that it can actually pour liquid. So let me surround this in this, and let me get a bucket of water. Let me just show you. I also like the new look, the new sound that they have. So as you can see, it starts to drip. This is important because what this will allow us to do is create water sources inside cauldrons. So let me get a cauldron. It's not in there. It's in brewing, that's right. Let's put a cauldron there. Is this right below it? Yes. And it will take a very long time because it's dripping. But if let me set my tick. What is it? Ran? Oh my goodness, what was it? I know there was one that allowed you to do like but to do the set. Nope. Okay, I don't know. But after a while, after a very long while, this will fill up gradually. Now, if we replace that, and replace it with lava. Okay. This will now... Let's get rid of that incredibly loud light. What's that? I don't know. So, this will then start to drip lava. Now, this is important. So, what was it? Like random... Well, no, my goodness. Let me find out what the thing is real quick. And after... Alright. So, after a very long while, it will do this. It will pour lava into this. It's a very slow process. That's what's worth noting. I couldn't figure out the tick speed, so I just waited here for a while. It's it takes quite a while, but this is very useful for a lot of situations. So, yes, lava cauldrons now also exist, which is important. Let's actually get this lava from over here. And as you can see, now we have a lava bucket. Now we can put it in here. Take it, then we can take it out. And then we can put it back. So what's worth noting... Alright, never mind. So, there's a glitch. I hope Mojang fixes this at some point. But you can do this. Yep. This is apparently a thing. Don't ask me what this is all about, but usually this would be the other way around. And here we are. It would usually turn this into obsidian, or cobblestone, or whatever. But it's not. So, now we can have lighting sources, like big lighting sources, underwater. Kinda cool. I don't really mind if Mojang removes it, but again, it's one of those things, it's kind of interesting. Alright, with that out of the way, the next thing on the list is actually this little thing over here. This is glow lichen. And glow lichen will spawn in caves. I don't exactly know what the spawn rate of these are, but it isn't... I don't think it's incredibly common. So, these have a unique property of their own. So, these emit glow in, here. But what's also worth noting, as if we said, is that currently there is no way to get it. So if you do that, you don't get it. But if you shears, you get the glow lichen. So that's pretty nice. So again, it's kind of like leaves. You have a block that you can't obtain in survival mode without the usage of a certain tool or whatever. Alright, that's pretty useful. Also, I can actually throw this in here. Trash bin! Yay! It's a trash bin now. Anyways, so, this can be placed on any side of a block. So let's actually get this block. Let's get this block to its own area. Again, not touching any other blocks. You can now do this. Actually, you can also do that. Because its hitbox is so small, but it breaks both of them. It's kind of like vines. In fact, these are pretty much vines. But the difference is, you can't climb them. Kind of disappointing, because then you have like a glowing ladder, but I don't know. So, it's interesting because it can be placed on any side of a block. But what's also interesting is that if I do that, I give myself the debug, if I give myself the debug stick, so let's actually do that. It can be waterlogged. Now this can have some pretty interesting effects, but I think you can tell because if I just put it down okay. Apparently, it gives us a pocket. Apparently, glow lichen gives us a pocket of air. This can be waterlogged, though. Okay. Fine with me. So let's set this back to waterlogged. And we can set that to true. Interesting. So some pretty interesting things can happen, I guess, with this. Alright, so that's glow liquid out of the way. Not incredibly impressive, but there are a few glitches that you can use with it. Now, the next thing is what was just... where'd it go? Aha! Axolotls. This is an axolotl. It's a new mob, now in 1.17, and it's pretty interesting. So the main idea behind adding this in is because the actual real-life axolotl is an endangered, I don't know if it's a fish. I'm pretty sure it's a fish, but it's an endangered animal, and Mojang did this to increase awareness for them. And I think that's a very cool, interesting idea. I kind of like it, because it gives people, you know, it's like, this shows that Mojang cares. Or Mojang, however you want to put it. But really, what they can do, there's a few interesting things. So first of all, they can spawn in caves, especially these underwater caves, which now spawn. And they come in many different colors, so let's actually spawn a few in. You can see there's a few different colors. So we got white with pink and blue, we've got yellow with red and orange, we've got the brown that you saw, and then we have pink, which is what the original color is. Go away. So there's that. And I think that's a cool idea, but what's really more interesting... oh, yeah, there's also baby variants. What the big thing about these is that they can act as, like, underwater dogs, essentially. So if I get myself a guardian... they will now start to attack the guardian... even though the guard... and as you can see, they make quick work of it if you have enough of them. Which is pretty interesting. The big thing is that these help you with underwater combat, and I just really think that they're also pretty interesting, because these are pretty uncommon, I would say. I don't think they're very common. I don't think they spawn that much. And I think this is a cool idea. I just like the thought of axolotls. So there's that underway as well. I didn't really have much to go off there either. Let's just throw both these spawn eggs while I miss that one. Back in you go. Okay. So there's a couple of other things. Again, not incredibly common. Not incredibly well-known things, I suppose. So let's go back to spectator mode. Let's get back on land. Then, now we are on to really some of the other things that were not, you know... I guess were highlights in a sense. So let's go back to creative mode. And that is the Spyglass. But before that, clocks and compasses both got a texture update. And I like that. Again, it's keeping up with the times. The Spyglass is a big deal. So you craft this from copper and amethyst. I don't exactly know the crafting recipe. But that can be found in many places. Anyways, so the Spyglass, when you hold down right click, it does this. So, you have a good view. And then if you press F1, poor man's Optifine Zoom. Now, this allows... this, I don't see a lot of people using this. Well, I do, but I don't see a lot of people saying, you know, this is groundbreaking or anything. It's literally taking Optifine. I can also do this. For those who are motion sick, I am incredibly sorry. But you can do that. But now you can actually get a good view on these. These were just underwater structures that came on land. I don't know. Let's press F1 again. So that's pretty useful. I don't see a lot of people saying that this is groundbreaking, other than the fact that this is an incredibly unique item. So there's that. Goats are a thing, as I said before. So there's that. The next thing is powdered snow. So powdered snow is obtained by having it snow into a cauldron. Then you get a powdered snow cauldron, and then it turns into powdered snow. Now this is a little bit different from typical snow. So let's get a block of snow block, and then we get powdered snow. So you see, powdered snow has a little bit more like a rough look to it, I guess. A little more speckled. The other one is a lot more polished. But the difference is, this one you cannot walk through. Okay, I do that, you cannot walk through it. Powdered snow, on the other hand, you can walk through. But you can see that there are some things that are now starting to spawn around my, around the borders of my vision. Now, during this phase, if you're in survival mode, you are freezing. And it's kind of like a damage thing. So it increases, so you take damage from it, even if you're touching it. So I'm currently, okay, technically my arm is in it, but, okay, you see, I'm not, I also start shaking, so I'm not moving, okay? Hands off. My character's moving. Okay? So that's pretty interesting in that sense. Now, powdered snow, again, I don't know if this is in the actual, update thing. I don't know if this is actually going to be able to happen, but if it is, then keep your eyes out for this possibility of actually obtaining it. Otherwise, it's not implemented as a block that you could actually find right now. It was one for a period, but then again, land generation was kind of changed. Now you can avert this by putting on leather armor. So as you can see, also inside it looks like there's like some sort of glow under here. Anyways, so with any piece of leather armor, you are now immune to that effect. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, so leather does that, what about something like iron, which is incredibly heavy, in fact heavier? Well, unfortunately, leather is the only one that will give you that immunity to this debuff. So if I look, okay, so it's not a debuff really, it's more of an effect, like fire, like it's like you're on fire. You also become slower, your vision gets zoomed in to, I believe it's like an F30, or a POV of 30, and if you can see, I am not on the block, but I am still freezing. Interesting stuff. Anyways, so powdered snow, very useful for certain traps, and I think it fits a lot of different builds. It also gives purpose to leather armor, which is something that a lot of people have been like, leather armor's useless, why would you get it? Even though you can dye it in officially 16 million colors, but anyways. So that's really a lot of the stuff. There's other ones such as azalea, and moss, and drip leaf. Now, you find these, and as well as hanging roots, but hanging roots are not super, they're not really much of a thing that I would say is very important, other than the fact that you can now tell, you know, that it does in fact give a little bit of depth to the game, but that's not the point. What everyone wants to know about is this moss. Now, it sounds, I don't know what this thing sounds like. It sounds like something. But as you can see, this is the moss block. These do not naturally spawn, I do not believe. Let's actually do this. Locate biome. And then there should be one for moss. Some sort of like moss thing. Nope. I I don't think that is a thing, though. I don't think moss. So moss is currently, as far as I'm aware, not implemented as a block that you can find or get. Except if you do find it, make sure you have bone meal on you, because if you have it, it does that. And then stuff like this can spawn. Now this is azalea and flowering azalea. These both, it's kind of like shrubbery. So I kind of like this. I think this makes it so that you now have more building options and a new flower, as well as like a bush. I think a bush kind of fits it. It also acts as kind of like a small platform, so it's not as tall as a block, I don't think. Oh, it is as tall as a block. Okay. But it is important to know is that this will always consume whatever is in its path. So, once you find it, and you start bone mealing, you're really going to have quite a few. So let's actually do this. Those are not... Can I not keep doing that? I don't know. But you can keep doing that over and over and over and over again. Pretty interesting stuff. So, this was from one block. Literally one block. But the big thing that a lot of people like is this drip leaf. So, this is placed on a moss block. So, I get moss block there, moss block there. This is the big drip leaf. This is a small drip leaf. Small drip leaf is one of those things where it's interesting because it's a new look, including the big drip leaf. So this is a new look. I kind of like this. I think this would fit in a lot of like certain like floral situations or like where a lot of plants are needed. So I think I don't know. I keep seeing this in things like swamps. But so small drip leaf, interesting. But it also turns into a big drip leaf, and this is where the fun begins. So as you can see, when you stand on it, it does that. So drip leaf can be placed on top of each other, the big ones specifically. If you place on top of itself indefinitely, at least until the build limit. And I think this is cool. So if you stand on it for too long, you drop. And I think that fits. But another thing, and I don't know if this is intentional, is that it deletes the block above it. So let's do that. Oh, did it get removed? No, it's the small one. That's right. So if you do that... Oh. Okay, I put the, Oh, I think they may have updated it. Or maybe I'm doing this wrong. No, okay, so they updated it. Okay, so what it used to be is that it would delete any block directly above it, and that includes bedrock. So there was a method for a while that allowed you to break bedrock, essentially. But I think now they've updated it. I mean, not very unfortunate. I kind of expected this to change. But again, interesting choice. Also, I don't think it changes the blocks, but it doesn't change every block. So, like, ores are going to be unchanged. Also, it takes a while, but the budding amethyst can cause these to grow. So, if you find budding amethyst, do not break it. Alright? That really covers, again, there's a lot of other ones, like, for example, the big one, the big new mob, which is the... Where is it? Starts with a G. Glow Squid. A new squid mob in the game. And a lot of people say it's not great. So first, it has this tinkling sound, which is nice to hear. And if I punch one, oh, it just sounds like a normal squid. So, okay, here's a here's the drip leaf, or not drip leaf, drip stone. These do spawn naturally. So as you can see, it has this unique green color, but it's not even that bright. I mean, in all honesty, if I turn my night vision off, so effect, clear night vision. If I clear my effect, okay, so you can see them, but they don't emit any sort of light. So they're kind of like certain blocks where it gives you the it gives off a little bit of light, but it's not enough to really tell. This is kind of how it is. Ooh, what's in here? Regardless. Menting fishing rod. Cool. There's a lot of these. I don't know how that is. It's like a mini city over here. Okay. So glow squids in of themselves, the ones by themselves are not incredibly useful, but if I take one down, they drop these. This is glow ink sacs. These are glow ink sacs. And this has a few different properties that are pretty nice. So let me get a sign. Let's get a dark oak one, just to kind of set the stone. Also, glow item frames are now a thing. You can see them literally at night. No, you cannot. But, wait, and then why are the... I was not informed of a glow item frame. Oh, so you get like a different background color. That's cool. I'm assuming... No. So let's put a sign down. Let's do that. Done. And then let's do glowing sac. You can now see that it is glowing, and there's the achievement for that. This allows so you can see signs and other such things easier at night, or in darker situations. So I kind of like that. Again, it's one of those things that glow squids were so unwanted, but this kind of thing is, I like this. All right, this gives so many possibilities for messaging without having to use, I don't know, other such methods. But now you can actually give messages in the dark a more interesting way. So let me see, is that it? That seems to be about it. Oh yeah, glowberries spawns in these areas. Let's actually delete the block underneath it. So this will spawn in these moss biomes once they spawn. These give off light once they are fully grown. Let me get another thing of bone meal. Alright, yeah, so this gives off quite a bit of light. So you could have foliage now give off light. I know the shroom light was technically the first one, but this is easier. And you get a berry source. No special effects there, just a berry. Alright, so that's pretty cool, I have to say. I think this is really interesting in of itself. Also, you can right-click. So it's literally like normal sweet berries. And they sound the same. So that's pretty cool. I like this. So, there are a few other things, but right now they're only available really in command. So if I give the how do you spell it? Skulk Sensor. And if I do that, if I give myself the, what is the scute? I don't know what this is, but I do know that this is what a lot of people liked. This is effectively wireless redstone. So as you can see, if there is motion, if it hears something. So I can crouch, sneak past these if I'm crouching, but if I walk, or if I sprint, that they will detect. Now, this is interesting in its own right, because it's a unique looking block. It has a lot of ties with the end, with like an end-based thing. So let's actually get a end portal frame, just to prove my point. Both of them have a very similar, like, teal look to it. Pretty interesting. But this is useful because they emit a redstone signal. Now, how bright of a redstone signal? How much of a redstone signal? Not incredibly high. So specifically, this far, if you're stepping, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Now, technically speaking, lightning rods also have like, there are certain things that have higher frequencies. But when it comes to walking 6 blocks away, or jumping, and they also have a radius. So if I walk this far away, alright, and if I do, okay, so from this distance they can still hear me. From this distance, that one cannot hear me. So that's a pretty sizable area for actually being able to hear you. So this is helpful for certain traps if you have a need to do motion detecting, but you don't want to use tripwire. This is tripwires were 2012, I guess. We're old. That was old Minecraft. This is my point. This is new Minecraft. Now these are currently unobtainable in the game without using commands, which is kind of unfortunate. That's cute. I have no idea what that's for. So interesting. Other than that, that's really about it. There are a few other ones that were going to be implemented, but right now they're not implemented, and they will be implemented in the next big update. So I think that's gonna do it. So that was quite a long video. I'm sorry for it being such a long video, but there's a lot that had to be covered in this. Alright, so that just about does it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do leave a like and subscribe. I do appreciate it, and it will help out, and it's going to help out my channel. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. I've got nothing against you if you do so. If you don't do so, but if you do, that's cool. And also leave a comment down below stating what your opinions are of these, or maybe comment like what your favorite feature is. Alright, so other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will definitely see you in the next video.